Peace and blessings, family. Sister Ajali, I entreat you, I definitely encourage you to listen to the entire share. I don't know where this is going to go. All I know is I got to put it together as efficiently as possible without having to do too much editing. So there's a lot to their plan. That said, let me start out with Kissinger and a warning I had on my former larger channel, but it's always controlled by the devil. So there you go. When you come on these platforms, that is, my soul, our souls are not controlled by anybody except for, if we're sane, the Most High. Now, that said, I had a share about Kissinger admitting that Black you and I have won. How I knew that to be the case was because he came out back in April of 2021 after the entire scandal-edemic was an utter failure. I say it was an utter failure, even though they got some successes. The devil and the satanic elites families are going to use whatever they can to benefit. However, when they popped off Fukushima, they made a strategic error because there's very little time left. These dudes are just epigenetically used to long-term planning. I'm talking about through generation after generation after generation. They're very, their methodology is slow acting. Thereby, they're not used to, well, what do you do when everything starts to fall apart and people don't want to go along with the programming? What do? You get more desperate. You get more tyrannical. And so Kissinger warned them, accept new global order or else. And this is actually my archive of that share that was taken down, where he says, accept new global system or face a pre-World War I geopolitical situation. Now, in this commentary, I scrolled down a bit where it sort of looks a little bit like, that's actually a notification on the video, but it looks like he's saying, oh, this has to do with China. But no, the new global system they want will have all digital currency. They're starting to roll that out in Africa. And part of that is everybody is unchaining themselves from the US dollar. And that's in order to impoverish lots of different corporations in the US and just, run-of-the-mill type of establishments, because it will devalue the dollar astronomically. And that doesn't mean that I know me, myself personally, I ain't going along with the devil. No, I'm not going along with pedophilia. I'm not going along with Satan. That's what these people wind up leading to, putting a straight trajectory towards. Now, that's how I know China ain't got nothing to do with the enemy that Kissinger is warnings about, because China's got everything that they want already on board. When I saw I got really fascinated with what was going on in China when it came to the economic downfall and all the rest of it. And I saw when it was leading towards, they're just going to put up another scandal-edemic. I was like, okay, I could see Chinese people will do as they are told. That's what they have been raised to perpetuate. They've been raised under a non-religious system. That's why they got rid of Falun Gong, because it was giving them some sense of you're supposed to be moral in life. Whereas the Communist Party, there's no morality at all. As a matter of fact, if you are not utterly corrupt, you can't make it in that society at all. And the suicide rate in China, oh my goodness. Dr. Z has a video that he won't even give me a link. I don't think he could find it anymore, but he showed it to me one time. It was horrifying. One Chinese person after another just jumping off of buildings. It's crazy. And here's another thing. I didn't even see this. I didn't see any of the people that I am subscribed to, because I don't subscribe to any large YouTube channel run by, I don't know. I've even unsubscribed from lots of the bigger, what seem to be true telling white channels. And almost every single one of them is just agent material, 100%. But I didn't see anybody talking about this where I was like, what the hell? Hooded Kanye West praises Nazis during Alex Jones' interview? I see good things about Hitler. And I even listened. I can't play it here. But I was like, this is freaking creeptoid. This is MK Ultra. And this is the only way that they can hope to influence in our minds an embrace of either pure lunacy or just absolute ravenous depression. I entreat you, if what I share about Fukushima, if you don't hear the second part of my warnings, my fact-based warnings about man-made radiation, if you don't hear the second part of what I say, which is there are cures, then you should not listen to my channel. Right? You need to just, and lots of wonderful people, you take breaks and breathers. You need to do that. I do that myself. And I thought, ooh, I love my life, you know? So they're just putting out a constant storyline, a constant reality story, you know, reality, real life show of lunacy where what the hell, you're in a mask and you're praising Hitler on the Alex Jones show? And obviously Alex has been a failure. That's why his Jewish wife left him. I'm just saying, she's Jewish. Okay? But everything has a different, deeper meaning than I am allowed to say. All right? And give you that man-made radiation warning. And so Alex is part of the whole thing in terms of, remember when he was flipping through his phone and all of a sudden he, by accident, just like Umar, by accident showed his dirty ass apartment. Alex showed his dirty ass fixation with a self-censorship here, a drag queen trans surgical YouTuber or whatever, an Australian one. And I was like, that were no accident. That is straight up agent activity going on there. The script that they follow because they want to normalize all sorts of things. So they had Can Dance and Does Dance for Butter Biscuits Owens getting out there saying, oh, Hitler was okay as long as he was right in Germany. Do you know what he was doing in Germany? And what we are allowed to even say on social media is massively restricted. And so that when this idiot, a historian, or anybody who's white, who's a historian, oh, you need to just do some further research. Make sure, okay? David Starkey was ranting that left-wing activists, including Black Lives Matter, this is where they ignore Black you and me altogether. We done called out the organization Black Lives Matter for the crap programming George Soros funded BS that they are, right? And they were ineffective. That's why they were taken down. One of their leaders after another. They wouldn't have been brought out on just getting kickbacks, which they all get, if they were not completely a failure. We know that. That's why these elites are just doing all they can to recover some type of control of this juggernaut of their destruction of the entire freaking planet. Do they want to actually destroy the whole planet? No, they don't. But they're running out of time because that's what man-made radiation does. That's what Fukushima does. Right? And so this dude up here, he's like, and Black Lives Matter are jealous of the Holocaust. Oh my goodness gracious. This is the most ridiculous juxtaposition I could ever have heard. There is no comparison to what we continue to undergo and what happened in the Holocaust. How many years? I don't even have to go into all the details, fact by fact. How many years did that last? And they got a whole freaking country that they didn't learn any lessons about humanity, obviously, because they're vicious to the Palestinians. Okay? And so this is what they do. They're just trying to grab everything and just put it in front of our faces so that we can't focus. So that's why if you're on my channel and I'm depressing you, you should not be up on here because there ain't a daggone thing to be depressed about. The devil's losing. He's losing. Let's keep it going. As I say, America's crisis of despair. Do you know the satanic elites, they read a headline like this and they get so daggone happy because they know the people who are suffering from depression, they feel like they have no place to turn to. You think that without these white people in charge, that's it. It's over. Oh my goodness. What are we going to do without democracy? When has democracy ever been democratic? Never. And it's just a poor copy of our nature as original people of the whole planet who have true compassion and empathy for those around us. We don't have this friggin' robber baron society where the elites make 95% of the wealth resources that come from this planet. We didn't have anything of the sort. You weren't just a dictator, a tyrant, despot. You had to actually consult the elders. The men couldn't do anything that they just entered their head. They went and they talked to the women. What do women have to say? Okay, it doesn't mean we're always going to follow it, but it means that we know this is a community. This is a nation. We're not going to do anything, and it's going to cause a breakdown in our social structure. But these dudes, they got whole plays from ancient Greece about the women getting so pissed off, that they were like, no more sex for you, Hercules. Okay? That's what these dudes do. They had to even write about it, how upset the women were. Okay? So I'm just saying, the Bud Light thing is a setup. It's a total setup because they're trying to work out those broken fragments of the tyranny they failed to enact as completely as they needed to be so that we don't notice that man-made radiation, right? Now, I'm not saying most people, average people, do not know about what I'm sharing. They have never heard of me, and I continue to hope they never hear of me because other people will start sharing it. But for the moment, I'm the go-to source. Okay? That's crazy. It's crazy. It's not helping us, but it is what it is. So go to 25,000 year cycle. Support your soldiers. You can purchase Dr. Z's. They work. They just work. All his products work because that's what he formulates them to do, right? As opposed to this stuff that these dudes put together that is there to slowly destroy your body so that they could take advantage of your increasing vulnerability and desperation on your part. That's not what we're about. And you could purchase my soaps, my books, including The Cures, in the book Furnace of Affliction, Healing, Radiation, Damage to the Human Body. Do not fear the first part of that title. That's just to let you know the depth of what we are facing. The second part, that's where the cure is. Healing, okay? So that said, Bud Light sales crash getting much worse in latest week since Dylan Mulvaney fiasco. People are like, oh my goodness, but Bud Light is going out of business because you do think that they did not know their own demographics. That's when I remember once I wanted to go for enter a business proposal so I could get funding from either a venture capitalist or from a bank. And I did research on how to write an adequate, a proper business proposal. That sucker is highly detailed. You cannot just write something like, you were in high school and you're going to get away with it. No, you have to do massive research on exactly the marketing strategy and the demographic you are targeting and lay it down with graphs and all the rest. Needless to say, I was like, nah, I can't be doing all of that. I got too much work to do, right? So they know who their buyers are. They knew they would piss them off. That's what all of the nasty X is about. where he's up there. I mean, I don't even want to show it because I don't feel like doing all that editing, but with the pregnant prosthesis on his gut, nasty, nasty man. They can always find idiots amongst black us to do all kinds of things. And with Kanye, I said it years and years back, they MK Ultra'd that dude out his friggin' mind. As soon as he went into the hospital, got electroshock therapy, that wasn't the only thing that he was getting. His mind has been destroyed. Right? And Kim was like, I'm out. The whore Babylon, she was like, I'm out because ain't nothing left here. He's a shattered vessel. Right? And so we are their target because there's nobody else. China is not their enemy. China's their hope, their shining hope. And Kissinger was just warning them, look, we'll put China in charge. If you guys don't get it together with your pretend democracy, then we'll put China in charge. And that means they need us to embrace the full force of their dysfunction, which is just historic. All the way back. I don't want to get into the orgies, the pedophilia, the transsexualism, the this, the that. This would be a 14-hour share. Okay? But this right here, this is not us. This is lunatic, out of their mind, black-like entities who ain't no hope for them, okay? They are possessed. So this is just to prove that these companies know what they're doing. It's not about they're trying to make more money. There aren't enough of these lunatics out here in order to pay for all this crap. So we're here for that. Levi's CEO says it is growing its gender neutral line because there's a definitely consumer appetite for that. Oh, just go ask Bud Light how that's going to work out, okay? When asked about Bud Light's Dylan Mulvaney fiasco, even in the headline, they had to acknowledge that this makes no damn sense. Especially, and these dudes do that research, they could write 500 business proposal inside of a half an hour because they have so many slaves to do it for them. So they would know about marketing trends. Right here, Adidas set to dump Beyonce as clothing brand crumbles. And the accepted cause for this, where they're losing massive amounts of money, is because she has gender neutral clothing. And it's just not selling. People don't want it. And this Beyonce, I personally, I can't stand her. I don't wish her any harm, but I just cannot. She is a siren. She is a black whore of Babylon. They want to fire her because she get paid. Even if the clothing brand makes no daggone money, she gets paid $20 million a year, whether it's successful or not. And it is a rip-roaring failure. There's 1.3 billion pile of unsold. Oh, that's just Kanye. His products are also unsold because they also have gender-neutral styles. But hers has recorded a 50% plunge in sales. Whoa. So the point is to attach us with things like the Black Lives Matter organization, which we called out. And I did shares where I was like, look, this ain't nothing. And they admitted that they're nothing but a transgender, trans-surgical organization. They only ambulance chase black men, black women, black children who are being murdered for real. They don't mind killing us, okay? But they would just jump on the ambulance in order to ratchet themselves up into prominence. That was George Soros's plan for them. And so they attach us to all these alphabetic equations that have absolutely not a damn thing to do with where our hearts and souls are. So here you have Penguin Random House. This authors and Florida parents sue school district for violating the First Amendment by removing books dealing with race and LGBTQ issues. You should be removing those alphabet books. They're disgusting. They're pedophilia friendly. Teaching children discussing things. What has that got to do with black you and me? What has that got to do with our history? Okay? No, they want to put a juxtaposition so they can make it seem as if this whole agenda is ours. And no, it's not. No, it's not. I want all these alphabet people to go to an island all by themselves. And if they're true to their doctrine, let's go back in 100 years and see how many are left. Whereas black, you and me, if we get these people out our heads, and most of us have and are, that's why Kissinger said what he said. We're going to be here long after these dudes, especially if we understand that your sister is not kidding about that radiation, right? Ain't nobody coming with the analyzed and correlated data the way that I am. I wish that it sounds weird because I don't like patting myself on the back, but it is what it is. Please support me because I'm going to test our food. That's for daggone sure, right? So as if Beyonce wasn't enough of a lesson for Adidas, you're going to tell me they don't know when they lost 50% on their investment with her, that these gender neutral things aren't going to work out financially, but here they come again. This is how you know. It's a setup. It's not real. It doesn't have any sanity involved, even if you're just being sanely stupid as hell. And I mean, to shove this just sexual assault down women's throats, that's because they want people angry as heck at whatever, at a ridiculous impossibility. Men are men, women are women. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful thing. But by having nonstop fights, they accomplish the goal of making folks depressed, especially the younger people who they want to believe that the greater world, this greater reality, is as good as most of them are. And no, it's not. It's being controlled by evil cretins who want to stay in charge, just like Kissinger said. If we don't get to an understanding with China, we know that's not what he means, okay? On that point, then we will be in a pre-World War I type situation in which there are perennial conflicts that get solved on an immediate basis, but one of them gets out of control at some point. That is a pure satanic elites playbook warning, threat, where they know. And for them, it's not China at all. They're just letting the folks who are in charge of the U.S. know we'll replace you with China. But they'll also acknowledge in the fact that the head of the dog that was always really the head is coming into its own. Black, you and me. Okay? I mean, at this point in time, this has just become so ridiculous. They're actually waking people up who are saying, wait a minute, the hidden dangers of gender affirming care. 55% of trans men, they're not women, they're men, and they've just been mutilated, who have bottom surgery, are in so much pain they need medical care years later, according to study of dozens of cases, and up to a third struggle to use the toilet. Oh my God. Or have sex. What the hell? What the hell? This is not tolerable. And you know what? They know that. That's why they're perpetrating this whole ridiculousness, because they know there's a whole bunch of mindless white folks out there who've been grass-fed KKK doctrine all their lives, generation after generation, which was set up by Albert Pike, the KKK. It's not even authentic. Otherwise, they would be warning these white people about Fukushima, about man-made radiation. They don't tell them a damn thing. They were the most victimized by the nuclear test bombs of any demographic. And they're not being told the truth. So they know they got this just populace that they've been stoking to think we are their enemy. We're doing all of this to them. And that's not the case at all. So that's why they're just trying to put all of that together, black you and me, and all this lunatic nonsense. So it looks like weird. What hospitals? Which of these hospitals do we own? Right? Hey, what is this? Like a row of black doctors suturing up 11-year-old girls? No. What's with this? I'm a heterosexual man, but my wardrobe is 50% women's clothing. I love wearing heels and skirts to the office, and my wife doesn't mind. This is propaganda. This is social engineering. What about being a man? Would you ever find anything but divine and magnificent, same as me, as a woman? There's nothing about being myself as I was made to be that's not magnificent. It's filled with power, but you got this dynamic where years back I explained white people where they're just like, they don't have a rootedness, where they just stay in one place. And they're like, okay, that's good, because they have so much greed, so much avarice for these giant mansions that they think signify their enhanced humanity. You're not a best of human unless you're freaking rich up the wazoo. And thereby, they don't want to stop all the theft, all the debauchery, all the pillage that has to happen to acquire that much unwieldy wealth. So they don't want that to go. Kissinger doesn't want that to stop. Right? So I'm just saying, I just had to lay that out, because with this thing, where I'll just read the headline. Adidas is accused of trying to erase women by using biological male model with hairy chest and bulging crotch for its women's swimwear line during Pride Month. 1 month after Nike paid Dylan Mulvaney to model sports bra. What? Right? I did a meme about Nike and the Balenciaga with the children that they had in freaking torture scenes. And then they also have the red boot people who everything you look at, it's connected to Satanism. Right? I feel like I'm a character on Saturday Night Live saying that all the time, but it is what it is. Right? So this thing, I'm not even going to scroll all the way down. Literally, when I looked at the video, dude has hair on his chest. And then they got him all up there confused as hell about what his purpose is on this planet. Right? Bow down to the one and only. Because this mess right here, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just saying, you want to be on the right side. Yeah, and that is not the antimatter side, which they also have been hinting. They know about that. 100%. Stephen Hawking, before he died, was saying, yep, that antimatter is coming for us. A Pope, he's been hinting at all the stuff that's happening. It's for real, okay? And ain't no reason to be depressed, not at all, when everything that troubles us is going to be going out for good. There's people out here who just are going to work for you because it's just logical, right? Support us, because we're surely going to support you. I love you. Straight, black, family pride is our map to forever. What a beautiful forever that is. Peace and blessings.